situation at home, and when he had that take care of it, come back. So the kid left and came back on Friday before a game on Saturday. And he walked into Coach Little's office and said, "Coach, I want you to start me tomorrow." And then Coach Little looked at him and said, "I can't do it. Too many guys put forth a greater effort than you can. I can't put you in front of them." He said, "Well, Coach, please, just work me in on kickoff coverage, punt coverage, get me in the game somehow." So Coach said, "Let me think about it." The next day, Columbia University kicked off to the opposing team, and he put him in on kickoff coverage. And he was the first one downfield, made a tremendous tackle and over the field. So he kind of got it, Coach's attention. He put him in on offense, and sure enough, he's a running back, and he made some unbelievable runs in the game. Just played a fantastic game offense. Put him in on defense, and he made plays that made the difference in the game. Intercepted a couple passes, made tackles all over the field. Played a great football game. So when it was over, Coach Little called him in his office. Said, "Son, I don't understand this." He said, "Why in the world did you wait until today, to show me that you were a great player?" And he said, "Coach," he said, "you knew that my father passed away." He said, "But you didn't know my father was blind." He said, "My father never saw me play." He said, "This is the first game he's ever seen me play." Well, the point he was trying to make is that people watch what you're doing every single day. Everybody in here, I don't care who you are, has somebody that wants to be exactly like you. They want to walk in the exact same footsteps you're walking in. And just think what kind of influence you could have on them if you were lifting them up, showing them the right way to do things. Like these kids I was talking about in reform school, they were looking at kids who were doing the wrong things. Instead of lifting them up, they were dragging them down. Get the right kind of people, And somebody's looking at you, you never know who it is. Could be somebody in the same class you are, somebody riding the school bus, somebody next door to you. But everybody in this room right now, somebody's watching every step that you make. They want to be exactly like you. So be the right kind of influence. Be the one that lifts them up, not tears them down. Okay? All right, anybody else? Yes?
We know that you are one of the most amazing coaches in history, and you're a wonderful leader. So if we're trying to teach these kids that we work with, what would you say made you a good coach? What made you such a good leader? Is it because we want to grow up and be coaches and leaders? And what was your sort of secret sauce to being so successful?
Well, of course, I think one of the things that helped me is I had great teachers from high school, from college, and from the pros. I had 3 coaches that really, taught me a lot, about the game. And having played the game, I knew how to treat people. But I think that was one thing. Coach Landry always said, treat people the way you like to be treated. In other words, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Treat people the way you like to be treated. When I got ready to be a head coach, Coach Landry called me in his office and he said, "Dan," he said, "I only got 2 pieces of advice for you." He said, "Number one," he said, "be yourself." He said, "People will pick up on a phony quicker than anything. So just be yourself. That should be good enough, And he said, the second thing, he said, always tell the truth. He said, because if you don't tell the truth, how are you going to ever remember what you said? Is that true? All of us have told a little fib or a little lie here. Can you remember, gosh, what did I tell them? But if you tell the truth, you'll never have to worry about that. Because you can remember what the truth is. So that was great advice. But I think as far as, being a good listener, it's hard to be a leader if you don't listen to other people. I can remember when I was coaching the New York Giants, and we had won our first 3 games of the season, and we lost 7 games in a row. And I remember after losing those 7 games in a row, I had to speak at a hotel-motel convention in New York City. And the reason I did that, I didn't use to speak during the season because I never wanted to speak to somebody right after you lose a game. Who wants to hear a coach that just lost a game, right? And an owner, son, was the head of the hotel-motel conventions, association, so I didn't have any choice. When the owner asks you, to do something, you got to do it. So I said I would speak. Well, sure enough, my worst fear was we lost 7 in a row. So I'm trying to think, what in the world can I say to these people? So I started looking through my notes, and I came across 2 things that really kind of hit me right between the eyes. First of them said, demand that people be better than they are. It helps them to become better. But don't be too disappointed when they aren't. It helps them to keep trying. Well, that kind of hit me because I was a very demanding coach. I was demanding a lot from our players. You know, I wanted them to be better, you know, better than they are. And so I was demanding a lot from them. But they were giving me great effort, you know, and so I didn't know whether they knew that I was really proud of the effort they was giving. You know, so I wanted them to know that. So that kind of hit me. The second thing said, people tend to resist that which is forced upon them, but they embrace that which they feel like they're a part of. Well, in the coaching profession, we get to play a game, we watch film of the next opponent, and we go in and we do a game plan and we present it to the team on Wednesday. They look at the game plan, we go out and practice on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, have a short practice on Saturday, and we play the game. But I wondered, did they feel like they were a part of it? Because they look at the same film we do. They practice the plays every day. Did they really like those plays, you know, that we have set for them? And so I went back to, after speaking to that convention, I went back to our players and said, guys, look, I'm really demanding, I know that, but you guys are giving me great effort, you know, and I really appreciate that. You continue to give me the same effort we got, we're going to win some football games, okay? And then I said, look, I want y'all to feel a part of this thing. When we get through this game plan, we practice. I'm going to give you the game plan on Wednesday. We're going to practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. After that Friday practice, you come in, and I want you to give me a list on, when we had plays listed by 1st and 10, 2nd and 5 minus, 2nd 6 to 10, 2nd 10 plus, 3rd down. I said, every one of those plays, you look at them, and I want you to rate them 1, 2, 3 of your favorite plays. And then I'm going to take those plays, and I'm going to total them up. And that's the way we're going to start the game. We're going to start the game with your favorite plays. So they did that. I totaled them up. We're playing the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The 11th game of the season. We've lost 7 games in a row. They're coached by a guy named Bill Belichick, who is now the head coach of the New England Patriots, won 3 Super Bowls. Great coach, all right. They had not given up a single point on the opening drive, the 11th game of the season. So we took a kickoff and we drove down, and I remember about the 25-yard line, we ran a draw play to Rodney Hampton, University of Georgia, running back for the, for the New York Giants. And he made a great run down about the 1-yard line, and then we knocked it on in from there. Well, we're coming off the field, we knew they hadn't given up a point. So we're high-fiving, we're bumping each other, having a great time, and Rodney came by and said, boy, Rodney, great run on that draw play. And he turned and looked at me and said, Coach, he said, I knew I didn't have any choice. And I said, what do you mean you didn't have any choice? He said, I knew you called that play because that was my favorite play. I didn't know that. I just told him up. But what? He felt like because that play was called, I had called it because I knew it was his favorite. He was going to make that play work, so he felt like he was a part of it. So I think those are some things that I learned. I ended up my career, after that, of doing that for every game, and we had some success, with those players having an input, in what it was. And so I think those are some things from a leadership standpoint, is demand certain things from people and also make people feel like they're a part of it. I don't care if you're, 10 years old or 70 years old, you have some great input into what you like, what you think is good, and so forth. So don't be afraid to speak up. Anybody else?
I got a question.
Yes.
Big time to ask a question, right? That's okay. Yeah. I want to know, how do you feel about the basketball lockout? I want to know because I got a big family. I got nieces and nephews, cousins, just like you guys. They looking forward to the season. That's something for children to look forward to, and that keeps them in front of the TV. When you take that away, I was young once, you find something else to do, you know what I mean? So a lot of times we get money involved in situations, we forget the finer things in life. So do you think that's, you know what I mean? How do you feel?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And now what are we going to do for entertainment? And all of a sudden we got, choices to do something else. So, certainly want to make the right choices. But, the NBA lockout, one of the problems is, and everything is driven, not everything, but a lot of things are driven, certainly by money. And, the NBA owners have kind of taken a stance because they have lost money. Not all of them, but a lot of them have lost money with all of the contracts and so forth. And it's very difficult, just like the NFL just had the lockout before the season started. It's very difficult once you have given something away, it's hard to get it back. And NBA owners are trying to get something back now that they've given up. And when you are head of a union or so forth, and you negotiate for the players, it's hard for you to go to your players and say, well, I'm going to give you less than what you had, before. And so it's going to be a very difficult thing. It will eventually get, done. And so I would say, if it does last a long time, and find something else. There's a lot of things out there, but make sure you're trying to find the right things to, to watch. No question. But NBA, there's a lot of college basketball out there that you can watch now. So, and it's pretty exciting too. But it is frustrating, all these, lockouts, and they're making millions and millions of dollars, and you don't understand it. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
If you were an NFL coach, what else would you want to be?
What else, if I hadn't been an NFL coach?
Right.
Well, my dad never finished third grade. His mother died when he was in the third grade. He was the oldest child, and he had to quit school, and so he worked, basically his whole life, and ended up buying a farm. I was born in Rome, Georgia, up in North Georgia, and moved when I was like 6 weeks old because he had been able to save up enough money to get a down payment on a farm. And so I was raised on that farm, and I really thought I'd work on that farm. He also started a road construction business with he and his brother. Started with the HD5 Alice Challenger bulldozer, and so we went into road construction where we built, roads, asphalt paving, as well as sidewalk and curb and gutter. So that's what I did growing up, working on the farm and working in construction. I really thought when I got out of college, I never thought about playing. It certainly was one of my goals. I wanted to, but I never knew that I would be good enough, to play. And so I figured, I would go back to Americas and work on the farm and work in construction. I got married before my senior year in college to a girl that I dated for about 7.5 years. We were high school sweethearts, and we've been married 47 years.
Give them the round of applause.
I'm the one that's lucky. She was the best looking one in school, and